Like a pantomime making a mockery of Christian worship. That's how a Christian campaign group has described a ceremony at Worcester Cathedral at the weekend involving asparagus. A packed congregation watched the famous Evesham asparagus receive a blessing to mark the start of the British Asparagus Festival. Well, among the procession was Gus, the asparagus man, dressed from head to foot in a giant green asparagus costume. Our reporter Joanne Riddle is at the cathedral for us tonight, trying to make sense of this all. Joanne, so am I right in thinking Asparagus Man is at the heart of all of this?
You are right in thinking that. Unfortunately, Gus the Asparagus Man says he has no intention of causing any offence. He's been part of the celebration of this area's famous vegetable for about a decade now. He's a local farm worker over in Evesham, busy in the fields working tonight. So just what is it that's got so many Christians so cross? This is the service that's got Worcester Cathedral in trouble, featuring a man dressed as an asparagus spear celebrating the start of the season on St George's Day. Here was Asparagus Man earlier on Sunday, as the Vale of Evesham delighted in being granted EU protected food name status, putting it on par with the likes of Jersey Royal potatoes and champagne. But the cathedral service has been heavily criticised by some Christians.
It really does look like something fairly absurd out of a pantomime or something. In a cathedral, what we expect, and really the reason why cathedrals were built, was to point towards the majesty and beauty and reverence of God and Jesus Christ.
Worcester Cathedral said the celebration of the locally grown speciality simply formed part of the Sunday evening service.
It's important that worship has colour and joy and fun in it. In the church's history and across the world in the present day, worship has taken an enormous variety of guises and styles, and that's important because it gives the fullest range of expression to human emotion.
Well, this story's hit national headlines, it's travelled far and wide on the internet, but what do people here in Worcester think about the controversy?
I think the church gets criticised for being too serious and too rigid, but then now obviously it's doing something a bit light-hearted, not so serious, and it's getting criticism for that.
I think we're perhaps inclined to be a little bit sort of hung up, in inverted commas, on things like this. I'd be much more relaxed about it.
They prove their point. It's a celebration. It makes it fun.
The cathedral said it would consider a similar celebration in future, and the Asparagus Man would be very welcome. Well, I'm joined now by Nigel Smith, who is the chairman of the Vale of Evesham Asparagus Festival. So, Nigel, I know that Gus the Asparagus Man, the local farm worker, couldn't join us tonight. How is he feeling about all of this?
Well, I can't say for sure, but I would think he's a great enthusiast for the vegetable. He's been helping us celebrate the Vale of Evesham asparagus for the last 10 years or so. And I think although he might be a little saddened by anybody being offended, he would want to continue shouting about how successful we've been with our asparagus over the last 10 years or so.
Are you surprised by the offence this has caused?
Well, I think we're a little surprised, but particularly I took part in the ceremony myself, and it was a wonderful experience, actually. It was very joyful. People were happy to be there, and I think Gus and St George, who were the two you might call mascots who were there, I think they just added a little colour, and they took nothing away from the solemnity of and the dignity of the service. So it's just a shame that those who have been critical weren't there to enjoy the experience themselves.
And you just returned from Brussels only yesterday to celebrate the fact that you've been given food name status like champagne and Jersey Royals. Has this all marred the celebrations a bit?
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a bit of a whirlwind really since Sunday morning. We started off celebrations over at the Fleece Inn at Brepferton, and we brought the asparagus over to here in Morgan Cars, and a great celebration of being British and our local vegetable. And I think we've perhaps a little, I wouldn't say jet lag, but train lag from coming back from Brussels. But we've had a wonderful time. So I think if it has, only a little.
Well, Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Worcester Cathedral say that maybe some of the criticism has come from people out of the area who don't realise the importance to the growers in this part of the world.
Joanne Riddle, thank you for that. And you may be surprised, you may be not, that the debate has continued to buzz around social media today. Just a couple of comments for you. Harriet Coleman on Twitter said, next thing they'll be installing a juicero by the font. Other makes of juicer are available. And nothing makes me want to defend Worcester Cathedral's asparagus service more than hearing Christian concern. And that came from J.R. Hollins on Twitter. Thank you for your comments.